idiot. Oil and gas prices are not controlled by the federal government of the United States of America. They're not. Even if you lowered the price out, just make more people use it more, and you'd run out of fucking oil and gas faster. You're an environmental scientist, and you're an economic genius, so you are. I can tell that straight away.
Secondly, it would take about 50 years for electric cars and biodegradable cars, all this nonsense, to be the norm. It's not going to happen.
Have you ever heard... Wait a minute. Did you just say biodegradable cars? Do you understand what the word biodegradable means? Do you understand what the word degradable means? Obviously you don't. You're a fucking tool. Oh. Just... Oh. You are so stupid. It's actually causing me physical fucking pain. I've got a massive headache right now from listening to you cunt. Electric cars are becoming the norm right now. It'll take another 10 years, 20 years maybe, but they are fast becoming the norm. Car companies are fast producing electric cars right now to try and get them up to gear, up to speed. There's 3 or 4 released every couple of months. New cars, not newly made, new designs of cars. 3 or 4 a month, a couple of months, being made for electric cars. There's more electric gas stations opening up around the UK than yeah, it's just happening. There's no... You are so fucking stupid.
We need to open up our own supply. Folks, the majority of our onshore exploration is on private lands, and the government is making it harder and harder to get permits because they want to drive us into poverty. It's a fact, and it's a fact you're going to have to accept, or you'll accept it when it's too late.
As I've previously said, you dickhead, oil companies are not government controlled, they're private companies. The government has no say in anything they do except for tax and checking that, make sure that they're actually following environmental protocols and such like. They don't control the price of petrol. Open up your own supply. They're all fucking private supplies, you idiot.
I talked about, on my last 2 shows, the absolute ridiculous situation we're in with the Middle East. We've lost the war in Afghanistan, which was predictable, because the English and the Soviets couldn't do anything. Now, we're going to be dragged into Syria, we're going to be dragged into Iran, and that's a joke. When Obama first showed up on the scene, he is quoted as saying, "Oh, Iran's just a little country. They're nothing. They're like Cuba." Now he's going around in recent days saying, "See, I always told you Iran was dangerous." I mean, which is it? Are they a tiny little puke country like Cuba and harmless, or are they a catalyst to World War III? I mean, make up your mind. And yet you people continue to follow him. He is 10 points ahead in the national polls. That's disgusting. And that's why, folks, we're finished.
I do think Obama has been as bad in some policies as George Bush. In some others he's not been. I mean, he's still got Guantanamo Bay open. However, compared to the competition, I'd back Obama any day. I'd have George W. Bush back compared to the competition that's been available right now. Junior and senior. In fact, I'd prefer senior. But junior. Fuck it, I'd have Reagan and Nixon back. They could double team. It'd still be better than what the Republicans are putting forth right now. Afghan is not over. The Afghan war is still ongoing. It's not lost, just lies are, unfortunately. Ah, dear. And as for Syria, no, you're not getting dragged into it. Just like you didn't get dragged into Libya, you were asked to look after the start of the war until NATO could get in there. And as for Iran, yes, it is a bit of a worry, but again, that is a situation that I'm guessing you know fuck all about.
Hillary goes on to tell a Muslim group against a bunch of college Muslims, because the question was asked, why do Republicans and Democrats support Israel so much? You know what her answer was? Well, during the campaign process, things are said out of context, and you really shouldn't pay much attention to them. So, in other words, you're just blowing smoke up people's backsides to get votes, but you're really not pro-Israel. Well, I'm sure Netanyahu is just thrilled to hear that.
She's a politician. You're surprised she's given a soft answer to a hard question like that? Really?
And folks, here's the majority of Obama's fan base. This is why this country is done. This is why it's over. Just wrap it up and put a bow on it. Here's Obama's main constituents. African Americans, families of illegal immigrants, welfare recipients, people who want birth control and abortions paid for, and homosexuals. Every deviant form of society will go to the polls and vote for the Sultan-in-Chief.
You've just called African Americans deviant. You've just called homosexuals deviant. You've just called people who want better rights deviant. And the illegal immigrants deviant, apparently. How can illegal immigrants vote, by the way? Just a quick question. Because you have to be in an electoral role, usually, to vote. Or at least in this country you do. In the UK you do. But why are you wearing that suit? Is your normal one, is the white one in the dry cleaners? Is that what it is? Is it the hood? Is that the problem? Is the hood the problem? Is it a hard one to clean? Did you get some little stains? Possibly some brown ones on your little white suit with a wee hood? Because you are that much of a bigot. I reckon you could be easily David Duke's right hand fucking man. You, sir, are a fascist cunt.
And finally, folks, I'm sick of these people on MSNBC, CNN, you name it, trying to say that the rise in the Dow Jones is an indicator of an improved economy.
These would be people who have expertise in economics. You know, business leaders, people who have studied it in university. Not people that have just googled it up, like you're about to see here. Now you see, I thought I was done with this cunt, but he came up with this gem, and I had to continue with it.
No, it is not. Let me give you all a little lesson. The Dow Jones is not an indicator of employment or the quality of employment. All it means is that more shares of stock were bought than were sold. That's all that means.
For folks that don't know, the Dow Jones is generally, where was it? I had the description here somewhere. The Dow Jones is an economic indicator that is available immediately and changes every minute. Generally, the higher your GDP, the better your economy. The fact that more shares were bought that's a good sign. When stocks plummet, that's a bad thing, okay? You want shares to rise, you want stocks to rise. That's when companies stop getting nervous. That's when they start to take on more people because they can afford it. Economic expert.
And folks, people buy more stocks when the stocks actually are either stagnant or at a slow decline. Why do they do that? Many stocks offer quarterly dividends. So, as the stock declines a little bit, you're able to buy more stock. Certainly people are not going to sell their stock when they're stable or declining, are they? No, they're not. That's why more older people are working longer. Their 401ks are flat. Their IRAs are flat. There has been no growth.
Stocks and shares are rising according to the Dow Jones indicator. Rather, the sales of such like, if sales of stocks and shares are rising, that means more people are buying them, which means the companies that their shares are selling on, that have sold their shares, they're getting more cash flow in, which is what they want. The more cash flow that goes into a business, the more it can spend on staff levels, the more it can spend on its products, the more people will buy because they're actually getting jobs or wage increases now, because the cash coming in from the shares being bought, and thus the price of the shares rise up, so that when they're resold again at a higher price, the company still gets more fucking money. You really don't understand the stock market, do you? I mean, the last time I took business studies was in fucking second year when I was 14, and I still understand it.
You want to see a steady sell-off, a gradual sell-off? Because people are making money. They sell when it's high. But when you say buy, and just a complete rise in stock, in the Dow rather, because stocks aren't moving. People are holding on and just reinvesting with the dividend. So the Dow Jones is not an indicator. It's employment and quality of employment. Go ask Detroit how wonderful the economy is doing and how great the auto bailouts work for them. My name is Mike. This is the Hot Seat.
Once again, you show a complete lack of understanding when it comes to economics. How can they reinvest their dividend if they're not selling off their shares? And if people are buying shares, that means people are selling shares. And like I said, the more you buy, the higher the stock prices go. It's a little thing, you know, called the stock market. You've obviously never worked in it. Neither have I, but I still understand it. Buy low, sell high. Unfortunately, with the stock market as is, it's buy low, sell low. But that's increasing, and that's a good sign for the economy. Sure, employment levels and employment quality come into play, but you can't have that without the stock market for the PLC companies. It all ties in. You'll start to see the employment and levels of quality and, well, staffing going up as the stock market recovers. You really don't understand it, do you? Oh, and you go on to say something about Detroit bailouts for the for the car companies. Sure, Detroit's been in a decline for a long time. That's the failure of the companies. It's not the failure of the stock market. What happened to the companies is different, completely different to what the Dow Jones is going through. And it's not a good example for you to use. Not at all. If people don't buy your products, there's nothing you can do. Anyway, I'm done with this arsehole. Today's video has been brought to you by the words fucking, cunt, and bastard. Bye bye. Oh, and the number 3. Bye bye.